The world outside is asleep, surrendered to the velvet dark and the biting cold that has settled deep into the bones of the land. But you are awake. Allow the sounds of your own world, the world beyond this story, to fade into a gentle hum. Dim the lights now if you can. Let your breathing slow, finding a quiet, steady rhythm. Inhale the stillness, exhale the day. We are going to a place of stone and shadow, a place where winter reigns with an iron fist. Picture yourself here. What is it that keeps a princess awake on the coldest night of the year? Is it the jewels in their velvet-lined box, grown as cold as river stones against her skin? Or is it the crushing weight of a secret she must carry, alone, until the dawn? You are here. In this moment you are Alara, and this is the North Tower of Castle Blackwood. It is the highest point of this sprawling fortress, a finger of granite pointing a silent accusation at a starless sky. It is also its coldest heart. Take a breath now, a slow, deliberate one. The air that fills your lungs is thin and sharp. It tastes of ancient stone dust, of the ghosts of 10,000 fires long since turned to ash, and of something else. Snow. A clean, metallic tang that promises a world buried in white. It is a cold so profound, so absolute, that you can feel the individual crystals of moisture in the air freezing in your nostrils with every breath you take. Raise a hand to your mouth and breathe out. A small, defiant cloud appears before you, a ghost of your own life, proof of the warmth that still resides within you. It hangs in the air for a heartbeat, a fragile miracle, and then it vanishes, devoured by the chill as if it had. Your gaze, heavy with the weariness of a sleepless night, drifts to the great stone hearth that dominates one wall of the chamber. There is no roaring fire here, not for you, not tonight. Only a small handful of embers remain from the meager portion of wood your guards allotted you at dusk. They glow a sullen, angry red in the center of the blackened hearth, a tiny cluster of defiance against the overwhelming dark. Your jailers, in their own cold way, were not entirely without mercy, but their mercy is measured in coals, in inches of candlewick. Each slow pulse of light from the embers feels like the heartbeat of a dying animal, faint and weak. Listen, can you hear it? If you hold your own breath, you can just make out a soft, almost inaudible hiss, a final sigh as the last of the heat is greedily devoured by the immense, cold stone surrounding it. Historians often note that in castles such as this, warmth was a currency of power, a tangible sign of status and favor. To be granted a large, crackling fire that filled a room with light and life was a declaration of your importance. To be left with a few fading embers, that was a message, a reminder of your place, a silent statement of your powerlessness. You turn away from the dying fire, the gesture a small act of dismissal. It offers no comfort, only a reflection of your own dwindling hope. The stone walls around you are draped in heavy tapestries, a gift from your mother, brought with your dowry from a sunnier, southern land all those years ago. They depict a summer hunt in a forest that knows no winter. Knights on powerful chargers, their banners snapping in a warm, imaginary breeze. Ladies with garlands of flowers woven into their hair, their faces turned up to a sun that shines with threads of pure gold. The irony is a physical pain, a tightness in your chest. The woven figures, frozen in their eternal summer, seem to mock you. Their world, so full of vibrant color, warmth, and life, is a cruel counterpoint to the frozen, monochrome reality of yours. You reach out a hand, your fingertips, already numb with cold, tracing the coarse, intricate weave of the wool. The fabric is cold to the touch, its texture a rough map of a world you can no longer reach. It does little to stop the chill that bleeds constantly, relentlessly, through the thick granite behind it. Here's a curious tidbit of domestic history. These grand tapestries were not merely for decoration. They were a crucial piece of medieval technology. Often, they were backed with thick layers of dried moss or even straw for added insulation, a desperate attempt to fend off the brutal cold of a stone fortress. But this one, your mother's gift, hangs limp and solitary, A beautiful, useless shield against a relentless siege. Slowly you move towards the window. It is not a grand window of glass and lead, but a narrow slit cut deep into the stone wall. An arrow loop. It was designed for defense, for loosing a crossbow bolt at a besieging army, not for a princess to gaze out and dream. The wind finds this opening, and a thin, sharp whistle is its constant song. Peering through it, you see the world outside has become a trackless sea of white under a heavy, suffocating blanket of cloud. The horizon is gone. The sky and the earth have merged into a single, indistinct expanse of gray and white. Tomorrow, the word echoes in the silent chamber of your mind. Tomorrow, Duke Valerius arrives from the north, your husband-to-be. His name is a shard of iron in your mouth, his reputation a cold shadow that has preceded him by many leagues. They tell you this marriage will bring peace to the two kingdoms, that your personal sacrifice will save thousands of lives from the horrors of another war. A princess, they say, is born for duty, but you know the truth that lies beneath this noble veneer. You know this peace is built upon a lie, a carefully forged letter that painted your father as a traitor, forcing him to cede his most valuable lands and his only daughter to seal this shameful treaty. And you, Princess Alara, you are the final payment, the living, breathing price of that lie. The cold you feel is not just in the stone around you or in the air you breathe. It is the cold of a future you did not choose, a future rushing to meet you, as inevitable and as unforgiving as the blizzard that rages outside. Your mind, seeking any refuge from the present, drifts back to a warmer time, a memory tucked away like a pressed flower in a heavy book. You see your tutor, a kind, stooped man named Alaric, his face a web of gentle wrinkles, his voice a dry rustle like old parchment. He was your teacher not of statecraft or courtly manners, but of the castle's secrets. Not the grand halls and the throne room, but the forgotten corners, the dusty, unused places where the true history of Blackwood was written. Every fortress has its secrets, princess, he'd said to you one afternoon, his eyes twinkling, its hidden strengths and its forgotten weaknesses. He showed you the old observatory at the top of the disused west wing, abandoned for a century, its great brass telescope clouded with age and neglect. And within that observatory, he showed you the hiding place, a heavy, leather-bound book in a library of frost and silence, a book hollowed out to conceal a secret heart. Inside, he had told you, the castle's truest histories were kept. He had spoken of a letter, the real letter, the one that proves your family's innocence, the one that names the true traitors at court. It is there, in that forgotten room in that hollowed-out book. You are certain of it. Locked away in the coldest, most forgotten part of the very castle that holds you prisoner. A wave of despair, as cold and as vast as the snow-covered landscape outside, washes over you. The knowledge is a torment, not a comfort. The letter is there, but it might as well be on the moon. The tower door is barred from the outside, the thick oak banded with iron. 2 guards, loyal to the Duke's regent, patrol the halls, their footsteps a constant, rhythmic reminder of your captivity. And the cold is more than a discomfort. It is a weapon. It is a guard in its own right. To step out of this room, to venture into the unheated corridors and halls of the sleeping castle, would be to surrender to it, to risk a death as certain as any executioner's axe. You look back at the tapestry, at the golden threads of the woven sun. A fool's hope, as useless as a painted fire. You clench your fists, your knuckles showing white in the dim light, a sudden surge of anger, a brief, fleeting warmth. And then you see it. Your eyes, now accustomed to the deep shadows, catch a detail you've never noticed before. A single thread at the very bottom of the tapestry, near the cold stone floor. It's a darker color, almost black, a stark contrast to the vibrant summer scene. It is not part of the original weave. It is a mending thread, a repair made long ago. But it is loose. It hangs there, just an inch or so of it, almost beckoning from the shadows. And in that moment, Alaric's voice echoes in your memory, as clear as if he were standing beside you. Not all doors are made of wood and iron, princess. Some are made of thread and shadow. An idea, as fragile and as intricate as a snowflake, begins to form in the frozen landscape of your mind. An idea that feels like the first, tentative spark in a cold, dark hearth. You will not be the price. You will not be the pawn in their game. You will be the reckoning. The air in the room seems to change. The silence is no longer one of despair, but of anticipation. You hold your breath, your heart beginning a slow, heavy drum against your ribs. You move closer to the wall, sinking to your knees on the cold flagstones, the rough wool of your gown pooling around you. The black thread hangs there, unassuming. To anyone else it would be nothing, a minor imperfection in a grand work of art. But to you, in this moment, it is everything. It is a question. It is a promise. Your fingers, trembling slightly, reach out and touch it. The thread is thick, coarse, stronger than the surrounding wool. You give it a gentle, tentative tug. It holds fast. It is not merely a loose end, it is anchored to something. You remember Alaric's lessons on the construction of the castle. He spoke of the siege of Blackwood 2 centuries ago, how the enemy had found a weakness, a way into the lower cellars. After the war, the lord of the castle had a series of secret passages built within the walls themselves, escape routes and listening posts known only to the royal line. They were sealed and forgotten over the generations, their entrances disguised as mundane features of the castle, a loose stone in a hearth, a decorative shield that pivots on a hidden hinge, or perhaps a single strong thread woven into a tapestry. Your mind begins to race, the despair replaced by a sharp, focused energy. This is a chance, a slim, desperate, terrifying chance, but a chance nonetheless. You look around your prison. It is sparse, furnished with only the essentials. A heavy oak bed with its furs and woolen blankets, a small table and a single chair, a wooden chest for your clothes, and on the table a pewter pitcher of wine meant to warm you, and beside it lies the small, ornate silver hairpin that your maid, Anya, had used to secure your braid this morning. It seems impossibly flimsy, yet it is the only tool you possess. You crawl to the table, your movements slow and deliberate, a predator stalking its prey. You pull the pin from your hair, the long, dark braid tumbling over your shoulder. The pin is cold and smooth in your hand. You return to the tapestry, your heart a frantic bird against your ribs. You must be careful. You must be silent. The guards. You press your ear against the cold wood of the main door, listening. You hear nothing but the distant moan of the wind. You know their patrol schedule. They pass this door roughly every quarter of an hour. You have time, but not much. With the tip of the silver pin, you begin to work at the stitches surrounding the black thread. It is painstaking work. The wool is thick, the stitches are tight, and your fingers are clumsy with cold. The only light comes from the dying embers, casting long, dancing shadows that make your task even more difficult. The sound of each thread parting is a tiny pop, a whisper in the vast silence of the room, yet to you, it sounds as loud as a cracking whip. You work with a desperate intensity, your breath held tight in your chest. The silver pin bends under the strain. You pause, straightening it carefully, terrified it might break. Minutes stretch into an eternity. You unpick one stitch, then another, slowly, carefully, freeing the black thread from the surrounding weave. As you pull back a small section of the heavy fabric, your fingers brush against what lies behind. Not the rough, damp texture of the granite wall, but something smooth, and your breath catches in your throat. You found it, it's real. A hidden latch, a small iron ring, flush with the stone and covered by the tapestry. The black thread is tied securely to it. It was a marker, a secret sign left by someone for someone long ago. Historians and seamstresses alike would tell you that needlework was often a language of its own. In the great tapestries and embroideries of the medieval world, women often hid secret messages, personal symbols, or even expressions of dissent within their stitches. A flower that symbolized a forbidden love, a slight alteration in a coat of arms to show contempt. It was a silent, secret script, hidden in plain sight. Alaric must have known of this one, a secret passed down through generations of tutors, a key hidden in thread. The knowledge this is not just a mechanism, it is a legacy. Now comes the moment of truth. You grasp the thick black thread, wrapping it around your numb fingers. You take a deep, steadying breath, and at first nothing happens. The tapestry strains, the wall remains immobile. Panic, cold and sharp, lands. Was it just a ring? A forgotten anchor for some long-rotted piece of furniture? You pull again, harder this time, putting the weight of your body into it. A low, groaning sound echoes in the room, the sound of stone grinding against stone after a century of silence. It is a sound of immense age, of deep, forgotten. A section of the wall beside the hearth, a piece of granite no different from any other, begins to move. It doesn't swing open like a door, but recedes slowly, painfully into the wall, revealing a sliver of absolute darkness. The air that rushes out to meet you is different from the air in your room. It is colder, if such a thing is possible, and it carries the scent of deep earth, of damp soil, of places that have not seen the light of day in 100 years. It smells of secrets and of the grave. Elation surges through you, a warmth that has nothing to do with fire. You have done it. You have opened the way. The passage is narrow, no wider than your shoulders, a black wound in the side of your prison. You are about to peer into its depths, to take that first, momentous step into the unknown heart of the castle. But then you hear it. A sound that freezes the blood in your veins. The heavy, rhythmic tread of boots on stone coming down the corridor. The guard, he is early. You flatten yourself against the wall, your body rigid, your mind screaming. The footsteps grow louder, closer. They slow. And then they stop, right outside your door. You can hear the jingle of a key ring, the soft scrape of a boot against the stone floor. He is standing there, just on the other side of the oak and iron, listening. Time itself seems to hold its breath. You are a statue carved from fear, pressed into the cold stone of the passage entrance. The tapestry, your only shield, feels as thin as cobwebs. Beyond the door, the guard is a silent, unseen presence, his proximity a physical weight against your chest. What is he doing? Can he hear the frantic, wild drumming of your heart? Can he hear the groan of the ancient stone? You imagine him, hand resting on the pommel of his sword, head cocked, listening. A man paid to notice things that are out of place. And the sound of a secret door opening after a century of disuse is surely out of place. Every muscle in your body is coiled tight, ready to spring back into your room, to try and force the stone shut, to feign sleep, to lie. But you know the sound has been made, the secret is out. The silence stretches, pulling taut like a bowstring. You count your own heartbeats, a frantic rhythm against the stillness. 1, 2, 3. You are certain he will call out, that a key will scrape in the lock, that the heavy door will swing inward, flooding your small sanctuary with torchlight and accusation. 10 heartbeats. 20. The air in your lungs burns and you are forced to exhale, a silent, trembling release. And then a sound. The scrape of a boot, not toward the door but away from it. A soft grunt, the sound of a man shifting his weight, bored with his watch. And then the footsteps resume, heavy, rhythmic, fading down the corridor, growing fainter and fainter until they are swallowed once more by the immense, breathing silence of the castle. He is gone. The relief that floods you is so potent it leaves you weak. Your knees tremble, and you have to place a hand against the cold stone of the passage to steady yourself. You are still alive. You are still free, but the close call has left its mark. The night is a far more dangerous place than you had imagined. The guards are not just mindless patrols, they are attentive. You have no more time to waste. You turn from the faint, dying glow of your room and face the utter blackness of the passage. The doorway is a perfect rectangle of night, a void that seems to absorb all light and all courage. Taking the first step is an act of will, a leap of faith into an unseen world. You lift your bare foot from the familiar stone of your chamber and place it onto the floor of the passage. The cold is immediate and shocking, far more intense than in your room. It is a deep, biting cold that feels as though it emanates from the very heart of the earth. The floor is not smooth flagstone but rough-hewn rock, gritty with a century. You take another step, and the faint light from your room is cut off as you move beyond the opening. The stone door, with a soft grinding noise, slides shut behind you, its mechanism triggered by your weight on the floor plate within. You are sealed in. The darkness is absolute. The silence is complete. For a moment, panic threatens to overwhelm you. You are blind, entombed in the walls of your own home. You can see nothing. Not your hand in front of your face, not the walls, not the floor. Your other senses, however, rush to fill the void. Your ears strain, picking up the impossibly soft sound of your own breathing and a faint, rhythmic drip, drip, drip from somewhere far below you, an echo that speaks of immense, cavernous spaces. Your skin tingles, registering the subtle shift of air currents against your cheek, a sign that the passage is not a dead end but leads somewhere. The smell is stronger in here, the raw scent of damp earth, of mildew, of stone that has never known the sun. It is the very breath of the castle, the exhalation of its ancient, hidden lungs. Alaric had called these listeners' lanes. He told you that in times of intrigue, servants loyal to the king would be stationed in these hidden corridors, their ears pressed to cleverly disguised grills, to overhear the whispers of plotting lords in the rooms beyond. Now you are the listener, and the only plots you can hear are the frantic workings of your own mind. You reach out, your hands finding the walls on either side. They are rough and cold, slick with a thin film of moisture. You can feel the chisel marks of the men who carved this secret way through the living rock of the castle's foundation. Using your hands as your guides, you begin to move forward, one slow, shuffling step at a time. Your bare feet are your best tool, feeling for any change in the floor, any unexpected drop or obstacle. The passage is straight for a time, a long, dark throat leading you deeper into the unknown. The air grows colder with every step, the dampness seeping into the wool of your gown, chilling you to the bone. You think of the warmth of your bed, the heavy furs, even the sullen glow of the embers. They feel a lifetime away. You are no longer a princess in a tower. You are a ghost, a secret, haunting the hidden veins of your own prison. After what feels like an eternity of shuffling through the darkness, your outstretched hand meets not stone, but empty air. The right-hand wall has fallen away. You stop, your heart quickening. You run your hand along the edge. It is a doorway leading out of the passage. But into what? You take a cautious step forward, your foot extending into it finds not a level floor but the lip of a step leading down. You feel for the next one. It is there just below the first. A staircase. A spiral staircase, you realize, as your hand finds a central column on your left and the curve of an outer wall on your right. It descends into a darkness so profound, so complete, it feels like a physical presence. The rhythmic dripping is louder now, echoing up from the depths, a lonely, steady heartbeat in the abyss. You place your weight on the first step. Your foot slips. A jolt of pure terror shoots through you. You catch yourself, your fingers digging into the rough stone of the central pillar, your knuckles scraping against the rock. The pain is searing. A line of fire across your palm, but you hold on, your arm jarring in its socket as your momentum is arrested. You dangle there for a heart-stopping moment, your feet scrabbling for a hold on the slick steps below. You find a purchase, your body trembling uncontrollably, your breath coming in ragged, painful sobs. A small piece of stone, dislodged by your fall, clatters down the remaining stairs. You listen to its descent. It seems to fall forever, the sound growing fainter and fainter until it ends with a distant, final clink. The sound echoes for a long time in the crushing silence. You press your forehead against the icy stone of the pillar, your eyes squeezed shut, waiting for your heart to slow its frantic hammering. You are alive, but only just. The pain in your hand is a sharp, grounding reminder of your own fragility, and of how quickly this quest could end in disaster. It takes you a long time to find the courage to move again, but the cold is a merciless master. It allows no rest. To stay here is to freeze. Slowly, painfully, you continue your descent, your movements now impossibly cautious, your senses heightened to a razor's edge. The staircase finally spirals to an end, depositing you on a level, dusty floor. You have reached the bottom. You stand for a moment in the darkness, listening. The air here is different. It is still cold, but it moves, a faint, almost imperceptible draft against your cheek. And you can smell new scents now, layered over the damp earth and stone. The faint, greasy smell of old wood smoke, stale ale, unwashed bodies. You are near one of the main levels of the castle. You move forward, your hands outstretched once more, and they soon find the familiar coarse texture of heavy wool. Another tapestry. This must be the exit. You find the edge and carefully, cautiously, part the fabric just enough to peer through the weave. You are looking into the great hall. It is a vast, cavernous space, the heart of the castle. During the day, it is a bustling hub of noise and activity. Now it is a cavern of deep shadows and slumbering forms. A massive fire pit in the center of the hall has burned down to a great, sprawling bed of glowing red and orange coals, casting a soft, warm light that makes the shadows at the edges of the hall seem deeper and darker. And all around it, scattered on rough pallets of straw or simply rolled in their own cloaks, are the sleeping bodies of the castle's guards and servants. You see dozens of them, men and women. This was the reality of castle life that storybooks rarely mention. Privacy was a luxury afforded to very few. For most, sleep was a communal affair, a shared defense against the cold and the dark. The air is thick with the sounds of their sleep, snores, coughs, the occasional muttered word from a dream, and with the smells you detected in the passage. Sweat, stale drink, wood smoke, and the faint, sweet smell of hay. They are sleeping giants, and you are a trespasser in their lair. Your destination, the west wing and the old library, is on the far side of this hall. There is no other way. You must cross this open space. You must move through this slumbering army without waking a single soul. You slip out from behind the tapestry, your bare feet making no sound on the stone floor. The relative warmth from the fire pit is a blessing, but the light it casts is a curse, exposing you. You stay in the deepest shadows, moving along the wall, your body a silhouette against the stone. Your journey is a slow-motion ballet of terror and grace. You step over the outstretched leg of a sleeping guard, his bearded face peaceful in the firelight. You skirt around a pile of discarded leather armor, careful not to let the buckle of a strap clink against the stone. You hold your breath as you pass a woman who stirs in her sleep, murmuring a name before settling back into stillness. Every floorboard threatens to creak, every shadow seems to hold a waking eye. You are a wraith, a whisper, moving through a world that is not your own. You are more than halfway across. The corridor leading to the west wing is just ahead, a welcoming slash of deeper darkness. A sense of cautious triumph begins to build in you. You have done it. You have navigated the darkness, survived the fall, and crossed the Hall of Sleepers. You are almost there. And it is in that moment of burgeoning hope that disaster strikes. From the great fire pit, a huge log, burned through at its center, collapses under its own weight. It falls with a sudden, sharp crack that echoes through the cavernous hall like a pistol shot. It sends a shower of brilliant orange sparks and embers high into the air, followed by a loud whoosh as the fresh wood it exposes catches fire, momentarily flaring up and flooding the entire hall with a bright, dancing light. The sudden noise and light are a shock to the senses. You freeze, caught in the open, bathed in the treacherous light. Your shadow, long and distorted, is thrown against the far wall, and from a pile of furs near the fire a shape stirs. A great, shaggy wolfhound, the Baron's favorite hunting dog, lifts its head. Its ears are pricked, its dark eyes fixing on you, glowing a faint, menacing red in the reflected firelight. A low growl rumbles deep in its chest, a sound that vibrates through the stone floor and up into the soles of your feet. The hound's growl freezes the blood in your veins. You are a statue carved from fear, pinned in place by its gaze. Every instinct screams at you to run, to bolt for the safety of the corridor, but you remain perfectly still, your heart a frantic drum against your ribs. To run is to be chased. To run is to be caught. The dog's growl grows louder, more menacing. It is about to bark. A bark will wake the entire hall. It will be the end. One of the sleeping guards near the hound stirs, disturbed by the noise. He rolls over, muttering a curse into his beard. He sees the dog, poised and growling at the shadows. Without opening his eyes, he nudges the animal roughly with his boot. "Hush, beast," he grumbles, his voice thick and slurred with sleep. "It's naught but the wind." The dog whines softly, torn between its instinct and its master's command. It keeps its eyes fixed on you for another long, agonizing moment. It can see you. You are sure of it. It takes a hesitant step forward, its growl softening to a questioning rumble. The guard kicks out again, more forcefully this time. "Lay down," I said. The dog, chastised, circles once, casts one last suspicious glance into the shadows where you stand, and then with a heavy sigh lays its great head back down on its paws. The immediate danger has passed, but it has left its mark. Your hands are shaking so badly you have to clench them into fists. The brief flare of the fire has died back down, and the shadows have reclaimed you. But the image of the hound's eyes, of your own exposed form, is burned into your mind. The warmth you so desperately seek, the warmth of hope and freedom, feels a universe away, and the cold of fear is a far more terrible thing than the cold of winter. You wait, not daring to breathe, until the guard's own breathing has deepened back into the rhythm of sleep. Then, with an infinity of care, you take one step, and then another, melting into the deep blackness of the corridor that leads to the West Wing. You do not look back. The corridor of the West Wing is a tunnel of profound silence and cold. The faint warmth and ambient noise of the great hall vanish as if a heavy door has been shut behind you. Here, the air is stagnant and frigid, carrying the dry, papery scent of decay. This part of the castle has been largely abandoned for generations. Its halls walked only by ghosts, and the occasional servant sent on some forgotten errand. The moonlight, which had been absent before, now finds its way through tall, grime-caked windows, casting long, skeletal patterns of light and shadow across the floor. The cold in this wing is absolute, a presence that seems to have settled into the very stones, never to be disturbed. Frost, thick and feathery like the plumage of some spectral bird, coats the inside of the window panes, obscuring the outside world in a crystalline veil. Your breath now billows in front of you with every exhalation, thick and white in the pale moonlight. You move down the corridor, your bare feet whispering over floors thick with an undisturbed layer of dust. You pass doorways that lead into empty, echoing chambers, rooms stripped of their furnishings, their tapestries taken down long ago, leaving the bare stone to weep with perpetual dampness. You are heading for the end of the wing, for the tower that houses the old library and above it, the observatory. Alaric had told you its history. It was built by your great-great-grandfather, a scholar king who cared more for the movements of the stars than the movements of armies. After his death, his more practical son had seen it as a folly and sealed it away, and it had slept ever since, a monument to a forgotten passion. You reach a heavy, iron-banded oak door at the end of the corridor. Unlike the others, this one is not locked, merely swollen in its frame from the damp. You put your shoulder to it and push. It protests with a long, drawn-out groan that echoes down the empty hall, the sound of a sleeper being rudely awakened. It gives way, swinging inward into a room filled with a soft, ethereal light. You have found it, the library. It is a circular room, 2 stories high, its walls lined from floor to ceiling with bookshelves. A wrought iron spiral staircase, a delicate black ribbon against the stone, leads up to a narrow balcony that rings the second level. In the center of the room, directly beneath the high domed ceiling of the observatory above, stands the great brass telescope, a silent, sleeping giant aimed at the heavens. Moonlight streams down through the dome's viewing slit, which has been left open to the elements for decades, illuminating the center of the room in a ghostly silver pool. The sight is both beautiful and deeply sad. This was once a place of knowledge, of wonder. Now it is a tomb. The cold in here is breathtaking. The books on the shelves are stiff with it, their leather bindings cracked, their pages brittle. You can see your breath mingling with the dust motes that dance in the column of moonlight, a miniature galaxy of forgotten words and captured time. You approach a shelf and run a finger along the spines of the books. They are as cold as blocks of ice. A historian would know that books in this era were priceless treasures, often chained to the shelves to prevent theft. But here, they were abandoned to a far more relentless enemy than thieves: the cold and the damp, which slowly, inexorably, turn parchment to dust and ink to faded memory. Your purpose reasserts itself, cutting through the awe and the melancholy. The letter, Alaric's hiding place. He had shown you the section on the upper level, astronomy, the study of the heavens. You move to the spiral staircase. The iron is so cold it feels as though it burns your skin, and you pull the sleeve of your gown down over your hand before you dare touch the railing. You ascend, your steps echoing in the profound silence of the library. From the balcony, the room below looks even more magical, the telescope a golden spear aimed at the heart of the night. You move along the curved wall, scanning the titles on the spines, most of them faded beyond recognition. You are looking for a specific volume, one Alaric had pointed out to you all those years ago. You find the section, the books filled with charts of constellations and complex astrological diagrams. And then you see it, tucked between a heavy tome on celestial mechanics and a slim volume of poetry about the moon, the paths of heaven. Your heart begins to hammer against your ribs again, a wild, hopeful rhythm. This is it, the culmination of your terrifying journey. Your fingers, clumsy and numb with cold, fumble with the spine. The book is heavy, much heavier than it should be for its size. You pull it from the shelf. It comes with a soft shush of displaced dust. You hold it in your hands, this object of all your hopes. You carry it over to a spot where the moonlight is brightest, sinking to your knees on the dusty floorboards. You lay the book flat and with trembling fingers you open the cover. The first few pages are normal, filled with dense, scholarly text and intricate drawings of... You turn them carefully, your breath catching in your throat. And then you find the hollow. A deep, rectangular space has been expertly cut out of the center of the book, its edges sealed with some kind of varnish. The space is real, the hiding place is real, but it is empty. The world stops. The air freezes in your lungs. The book in your hands feels impossibly heavy, a vessel of pure, crushing nothingness. Empty, all of it. The risk, the cold, the terror, the near fall on the stairs, the confrontation with the dog in the hall, all of it for nothing. A sound escapes your lips, a sound you don't recognize as your own. It is not a cry of sorrow, but a hollow, rasping laugh, a sound with no warmth, no joy, no life in it. It is the sound of something inside you breaking. It was a lie, a ghost story. He moved it years ago, or perhaps it was never there at all. It was all a fantasy, a kind old man's sentimental tale to give a lonely, frightened princess a shred of hope in a hopeless world. Despair, colder and more penetrating than any winter wind, floods your body, extinguishing the last embers of defiance. You are a fool, a child who chased a fairy tale through a nightmare. The marriage will happen, the lie will become truth, and you are lost, utterly, irrevocably lost. You sink to the floor, the empty book falling from your numb fingers and landing with a soft, final thud in the dust. The moonlight seems to mock you, cold and indifferent. You have nothing left. You don't know how long you sit there, a small, huddled shape of misery on the floor of the abandoned library. Time has lost its meaning. There is only the cold, the dust, and the vast, empty silence. Your desperate gamble has failed, and with it, the last of your strength has drained away. The idea of the journey back, of facing the sleeping giants and the treacherous stairs, is impossible. It would be easier to simply stay here, to let the cold take you, to become another ghost in this forgotten corner of the castle. Your gaze, dull and unfocused, drifts from the empty book to the great brass It stands there impassive, its single eye aimed at the sky through the dome slit. As you watch, a sudden, miraculous break in the heavy clouds outside allows a shaft of brilliant, undiluted moonlight to pierce the darkness. It is not the pale, filtered light of before, but a beam of pure, incandescent silver. It strikes the telescope, and the aged brass glimmers, coming to life, transformed from a dead artifact into a thing of breathtaking beauty. The sight stirs something in you, a flicker of memory. Alaric, Not his words about the book, but his other lessons. Lessons about the stars. He had taught you the constellations, the stories the ancient world had written in the night sky. The steadfast North Star, the hunter Orion, the Queen Cassiopeia. He taught you how lost sailors could find their way home by them, how even in the deepest darkness there were guides, there were constants. The stars do not lie, Prince. Men write histories to suit their ambitions, but the stars write a truth that is for all time. A quiet, meditative stillness settles over you, pushing back. The memory is a comfort, a small, warm stone in the palm of your hand. Almost without thinking, you rise to your feet and descend the iron staircase, your movements slow and dreamlike. You approach the telescope, drawn to it as if by an unseen force. The moonlight is so bright it seems to have substance, a column of liquid silver in which you now stand. You reach out and touch the frozen metal surface of its base. Your fingertips, devoid of all feeling, register only a deep, profound cold. And then you see it. The intense, direct moonlight reveals something that the dim, ambient light could not. A tiny, almost invisible series of scratches on the curved brass of the... They are not random marks of age and wear. They are deliberate letters. So small and so finely etched that you must press your face close to the metal to read them. It is a single line of script, elegant and familiar. It is a line of poetry. The brightest truths are not bound in leather, but hide in plain sight beneath the searching eye. Your breath catches, it wasn't a lie. It was a riddle, a test. The book was a decoy, the first step in a puzzle. Beneath the searching eye, your gaze darts from the inscription up the long barrel of the telescope to the eyepiece, and then down, following the path of light, to the floor directly beneath it. The floorboards. They look the same as all the others, old, gray, and covered in dust. But now you look with a new intensity, with a specific purpose. You kneel down, your eyes scanning the wood in the pool of moonlight. And there it is. The faintest of lines, a hair's breadth, where one of the floorboards does not sit quite flush with its neighbors. A loose board, the true hiding place. Your fingers are too numb to get a purchase on the edge. You look around desperately. Your hairpin. You left it upstairs with your gown. You need a tool, something thin and strong. Your eyes fall upon the fallen book, its empty heart a testament to your foolishness. But its cover is bound with thin straps of leather, held in place by small, flat brass clasps. With a surge of renewed purpose, you hurry back to the book and with a strength born of desperation, you wrench one of the small brass clasps from the cover. It is thin, but strong. You return to the floorboard and work the edge of the clasp into the thin. You pry, the wood groans in protest. Splinters dig into your cold fingers, but you don't feel them. You lever it up just enough to get your fingertips underneath. You pull. The board comes up with a soft sigh of ancient dust. And there, nestled in the dark, hollow space beneath, is a small packet. It is wrapped in oilskin, bound with twine, and sealed with a blob of dark blue wax, stamped with your family's crest. A solitary hawk. Your heart is not just beating now, it is soaring. You lift the packet from its hiding place. It is cool and smooth to the touch, its contents protected from the damp and the cold. You break the wax seal with your thumb, your hands shaking so badly you can barely untie the twine. You unfold the oilskin. Inside is a single sheet of heavy parchment, folded twice. It is the letter. You unfold it with the reverence of a priest handling a holy relic. The script is bold and black, the signature at the bottom unmistakable. It is the seal and signature of the neighboring king, the one your father was accused of conspiring with. You begin to read, your eyes flying across the words by the faint, precious moonlight. And as you read, the triumphant elation in your chest slowly, horribly, begins to curdle into ice. The letter does exactly what Alaric had promised. It completely absolves your father. It states in clear and unequivocal terms that he refused the king's offer of a secret military alliance, declaring his unwavering loyalty to his own sovereign. He was no traitor. He was a man of honor. But the letter does not stop there. It goes on. It names the person who first proposed the treasonous alliance, the person who instigated the entire plot, using your father's name as a shield. The person who then, when the plot was discovered, expertly forged the documents that implicated him, sacrificing his honor to secure a more powerful, more stable alliance for the kingdom. An alliance sealed by a marriage. Your marriage. The script on the page blurs. The words twist into monstrous, unrecognizable shapes. This isn't a story of heroes and villains, of right and wrong. It's a story of sacrifice, of a mother's cold, calculated, terrible love. The name written on the parchment, the architect of your father's ruin and your own dreadful fate, is a name you know better than your own. It is the name of your mother, the Queen. The truth you have risked everything to find is not a key to unlock your cage. It is a cage of its own, a far more terrible one, forged from the steel of betrayal and a love so vast and so cruel you cannot begin to comprehend it. The cold of the room, the frost on the windows, the ice in your veins, it is nothing. Nothing compared to the glacier that is slowly, inexorably forming around your heart. You are not a pawn in an enemy's game. You are a pawn in your own mother's, and she has just sacrificed you to win. A profound, unnatural stillness settles over you. The library, with its tiers of silent books and its single column of moonlight, seems to recede, the world narrowing to the horrifying words on the parchment in your hand. Your mother. The realization doesn't crash over you like a wave. It seeps into you, a slow, creeping frost that numbs you from the inside out. You read the letter again, and then a third time, praying that your mind, exhausted and strained, has made a mistake. But the words remain unchanged, etched in black ink, stark and irrefutable. Every memory of your mother reconfigures itself in your mind, seen through this new, terrible lens. Her quiet sadness at your father's disgrace, which you had mistaken for grief, you now see as guilt. Her gentle insistence on your duty, on the necessity of this marriage, which you had seen as maternal wisdom, now reveals itself as cold, pragmatic statecraft. She was not a grieving wife and a concerned mother. She was a queen, playing the long, brutal game of thrones, and every move she made was for the survival of the kingdom. Her kingdom, the one she would one day pass to you. The letter explains it all with a chilling logic. Your father was a good man, a man of honor, but he was a poor strategist. His refusal of the alliance, while noble, would have left your kingdom vulnerable, caught between two powerful, aggressive neighbors. Your mother saw this. She understood that survival sometimes required a sacrifice, so she made one. She sacrificed her husband's name, his honor, his legacy. She painted him a traitor to appease one enemy. And now she was sacrificing you, her daughter, to forge a permanent peace with the other. In her mind, it was a necessary price. 2 pieces, a knight and a princess, sacrificed to save the board. A queen's gambit. The sheer, breathtaking audacity of it, the coldness of the calculation, leaves you reeling. What kind of love is this? A love that would trade a husband's honor for a daughter's future. It is a love so terrible, so alien to your own heart, that you feel you are staring into an abyss. The letter, which you sought as a weapon of liberation, has become a thing of unbearable weight in your hands. What can you do with it? Your first, wild instinct is to race back to the great hall, to throw the letter at the feet of the regent, to scream the truth for all to hear. You could expose your mother, clear your father's name, and stop the wedding. The thought is a fire in your blood, a craving for justice, for vengeance against this monumental betrayal. But the fire dies as quickly as it is born. What would happen then? The revelation would not bring peace. It would shatter the fragile treaty Duke Valerius is coming to sign. It would plunge the kingdom into chaos, into a bloody civil war. Your mother's supporters against the loyalists of your disgraced father, neighbor against neighbor. The thousands of lives your mother claimed this marriage would save would be lost tenfold. Everything she sought to build, however cruelly, would be and you would be the one holding the torch. You are trapped. To reveal the truth is to destroy to conceal it is to allow your father's name to remain tarnished forever, and to surrender yourself to a marriage built on a foundation of lies and betrayal. You came here seeking a simple story of right and wrong, a clear path to freedom. Instead, you have found a labyrinth of impossible choices, where every path leads to a different kind of ruin. You look down at the letter, at the elegant, damning script. This piece of parchment is the most powerful object in the kingdom. It is proof of innocence. It is a warrant for treason. It is a declaration of war, and it belongs to you. Slowly, deliberately, you fold the letter along its original creases. The parchment is cold and sharp against your skin. You tuck it deep inside the bodice of your gown, the stiff paper a secret shield against your heart. And in that moment, a choice is made. A calm settles over you, a strange and terrible peace born not of hope, but of cold, hard certainty. You will not reveal the letter. Not now, not yet. You will not become the agent of your kingdom's destruction. You will go through with the marriage. You will meet Duke Valerius at the altar tomorrow. You will play the part your mother has assigned you. But you will no longer be a pawn. You will be a player. You will carry this knowledge, this terrible truth, not as a burden but as a weapon. It is your power now, your shield, your secret dagger hidden in silk, ready for the moment, and you know with absolute certainty that the moment will come when it is needed most. The path ahead is not the one you wanted, but it is a path you now choose. Your quest began as a desperate attempt to restore the past, to reclaim your father's lost honor. Instead, you have just seized control of your future. You will not be a victim of your mother's ambition. You will become its master. You will wear the Duke's ring, and you will learn his kingdom's ways, and you will rule at his side. And one day, when the time is right, when your own power is secure, you will use this letter to rewrite history, to restore your father's name, and to confront your mother not as a frightened daughter, but as an equal, as a queen. The thought sends a chill through you that has nothing to do with the cold of the library. It is the chill of newly formed. Your return journey through the sleeping castle is a different experience entirely. You are no longer the frightened, desperate girl who crept through these passages an hour ago. You move with a new kind of silence, a cold, quiet purpose that radiates from you. The fear is gone, replaced by a crystalline focus. The darkness is no longer a threat. It is an ally, a cloak that conceals you. The treacherous, ice-covered stairs are no longer an obstacle to be feared, but a challenge to be overcome with patience and precision. You ascend with a slow, steady grace, your hands sure on the central pillar, your feet finding their purchase with unerring accuracy. The pain in your scraped palm is a dull throb, a minor distraction, a reminder of the price of a moment's weakness. When you emerge from the passage back into the great hall, the scene has not changed, but your perception of it has. The sleeping guards and servants are no longer giants in a nightmare. They are your people, future subjects. Their lives and fates are tied to the decisions you will now make. You look upon them not with fear, but with a strange, burgeoning sense of responsibility. You are no longer just a princess fighting for her own freedom. You are a queen learning the weight of her crown. You cross the hall, moving through the shadows like a thought, silent and unseen. The great wolfhound does not stir this time. It is as if it senses the change in you, the shift from hunted prey to something far more dangerous. The cold castle, which a few hours ago felt like your prison, now feels like your domain. Its secrets are your secrets. Its hidden paths are your paths. You are no longer a captive within its walls. You are its hidden heart, its silent, waking consciousness. You reach the tapestry that conceals the passage to your tower and slip behind it. The mechanism to open the door from this side is a small, cleverly hidden lever, and you slide the stone open with a faint whisper of sound. You step back into your room in the north tower. The air inside feels almost warm compared to the absolute cold of the library. The embers in the hearth have finally died, leaving only a bed of soft, gray ash. The first faint hint of dawn, a pale, washed-out gray, is just beginning to touch the narrow slit of the window. The long night is almost over. With meticulous care, you slide the stone door shut, hearing the soft click as the latch engages. You smooth the tapestry, ensuring it hangs perfectly, betraying nothing of the secret that lies behind it. You look around the small room, your gilded cage. It is the same room, but you are not the same person who despaired within its walls. You are harder now, colder, but also stronger. You move to the bed and slip between the cold sheets, pulling the heavy furs up to your chin. You do not feel the cold. The letter, tucked safely in your bodice, is a secret warmth against your skin. You close your eyes, but not to sleep. You begin to plan. You think of Duke Valeria. You think of your mother. You think of the intricate, deadly game that awaits you. You are no longer thinking of survival. You are thinking of how to win. Sometime later, you hear the sound of the bar being lifted from your door. You let your body relax, your face soften into a mask of peaceful slumber. Your maid, Anya, enters, shivering, carrying a small bundle of kindling and a single precious log for the morning fire. She moves quietly, not wanting to wake you. She kneels at the hearth and begins her work, the flint and steel clicking softly in the quiet room. As the first small flames begin to lick at the kindling, casting a warm, flickering light across the walls, she glances over at the bed. She sees her princess, sleeping soundly, a faint, enigmatic smile on her lips. She thinks the princess must be having a pleasant dream, a happy escape from this cold and lonely place. She has no idea that the princess is not dreaming. The princess is wide awake, and she is ready to face the dawn. And so she rests, or rather she waits. The coldest night is over. A new day and a new, unwritten life awaits her. The warmth she had so desperately sought was not in a physical fire, but in the discovery of a fire within herself. A fire of will, of knowledge, of a queen's cold resolve. Let her story be a quiet reminder to you now, that even in the deepest winter of our lives, a single, hidden spark of courage can hold back the encroaching dark and light a new path forward. Now, as the story ends, let the quiet strength she has found cradle you. Let the fire in your own hearth, whether real or imagined, burn low and steady. The castle is at peace. The world outside is quiet. Your own journey for tonight is over. Rest now. Let your thoughts drift away like smoke into the morning air. Sweet dreams.